In this sample, we show the flexibility of MapSuite iOS Edition in labeling parcels, streets, and points of interest. Everything from the number of labels displayed on the screen to the size and color of the labels is customizable. We even show you how to implement your own custom style with our extensible API so you can draw labels exactly how you need them. Let's look at the label styling example. Label styling example has parcels, streets, and POIs to show how all the labeling features work together to create a comprehensive map. The MapSuite core class text style applies to all feature types, points, lines, and polygons. From the settings menu in the upper right corner, we can customize the style. Apply outline color creates an outline around the label text so it is more visible. Apply background mask displays a background behind the POI labels so that they stand out. When labels overlapping each other is selected, labels that would be hidden because they intersect with other labels are displayed. Grid size chops up the display area into cells behind the scenes and only displays one label per cell. If the grid size is small, many labels are displayed. If grid size is large, few labels will be shown. Change duplicate rule to unlimited duplicate labels, and roads can then be labeled multiple times. For example, mall ring will have multiple labels. Drawing margin percentage changes the maximum length of some labels. For example, if I change it to 15, then you can see that Nordstrom's in-house cafe and coffee bar is truncated. If we set this parameter to a value greater than 100, that reduces the chance that the label is truncated. A value of 200 or 300 is usually best. Now let's look at the labeling points sample. This example shows how you can control the placement of POI labels to create a clearly labeled map. From the Style Settings menu in the upper right corner, it's possible to modify the location of the label to any one of 9 placements with customizable X and Y offsets. Now let's look at the labeling lines sample. This sample demonstrates the importance of splining. Streets and rivers don't always follow a straight path. Use splining so that the label follows the curves and zigzags of the feature. Let's check out the settings. Under the settings spline type, it's possible to choose none, standard splining, and force splining. When none is selected, labels are only displayed in a straight line. This mode has the best performance. Standard splining shows labels that curve with the road and those that can also be displayed without splining. Standard splining generally looks the best. Force splining forces the label to be displayed using splining. Usually this is best for Asian languages, like Chinese or Japanese. The setting line segment ratio is the maximum ratio of the label to the length of the street required for the label to display. At the default setting of 0.9, labels that are 90% of the road length or less will be displayed. Let's check out the labeling polygon sample. This sample shows some of the polygon-based labeling features, like only showing labels that can fit inside their polygon. If fitting factors only within is selected, only labels that fit inside their polygon are displayed by using the fitting polygon property. Not all labels that fit inside their polygon are displayed because there are other reasons why labels are hidden. It's also possible to use the fitting polygon factor property to set which labels will be displayed based upon their size in relation to the size of the polygon. The setting label all polygon parts will label all the parts making up a polygon-based feature. If you don't like our built-in labeling styles, that's not a problem. Map Suite is extensible, so you can create your own custom labeling class. In this example, we created a custom class in order to have a minimum and maximum label text size. Okay, let's look at the code. I've pulled up main.cs. This is the entry point of the application. Doesn't really do very much except for call app delegate. You can see here that there's two storyboards, one for iPad, one for iPhone. Typically these handle the UI, but in our sample, main view controller handles the UI. This viewDidLoad function is the iOS event for page load. You can see here that it loads an XML file, and this XML file contains a list of the labeling styles. Now let's look at some of the controllers. In the advanced folder, there's Detail View Controller. And this handles things like initializing the map and the settings button. There's also a Slider View Controller, which handles the menu that slides in from the left side of the screen. And then there are the labeling style controllers, one for each label style. And inside of these we have an initialize map function, and then other functions that are specific to the labeling style. Each of them inherit the detail view controller, which contains some functions that each of them uses. Well, I hope this helped you to get a good idea of what APIs you'll need to execute the labeling styles. Thanks for watching the labeling learning sample.